Mommy made a discovery.
Really?
Come see.
Is that a larva of a baby caterpillar egg?
That's a monarch. We got a baby monarch.
Should we take him inside now?
We should let him eat till he gets big.
Yeah, like a caterpillar. That's just a baby larva. And it's really small.
We'll watch him grow. We'll take care of him. That's it.
And he's going. That's it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the garden. It is a sunny Saturday afternoon. It's August 6th. It's been a couple weeks since the last video. A lot has changed out here. Basically, the large harvest we did 2 weeks ago, we took with us. We went on a little trip, got back last weekend, and pretty much this past week we've just been harvesting our produce as it's become ready. We have a few jobs to do today out in the garden, nothing major. There's a bit of weeding to do. 2 weeks not being here, that will definitely happen. We are going to finally open up our cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower bed. That has been under cover, our little bug netting covers, since we put the plants out. Been over 2 months now. We haven't been in there weeding at all. It's just kind of taking care of itself. So we're going to open it up and see what's underneath. And we've kind of figured out that one of the plants in the blueberry patch is not supposed to be there. So we're gonna go take a look and see if we can solve that issue as well. Other than that, we'll show you the highlights when all this work is done. So let's get started. The bed has been opened in two months, at least 2 months. Everything's looking good. For the most part, the bug netting did its job by keeping the butterflies out. Again, it may be different where you are, but we grow these. First year we grew these, we did not get anything because they were absolutely covered in green caterpillars, which was very discouraging. So we find the best way, instead of spraying, just to cover them over. And because of the weed guard, again, the weeds are only showing up on the edge where the weeds and grass can squeak by the weed guard. Other than that, we're getting a lot of tomato plants from our kitchen compost, but that's what happens. They're not going to. I mean, if we had a longer growing season, they probably would produce something, but...
Holy, this one's way down there.
Yeah, they...
Here.
Yeah, they get...
There's even tomatoes?
There's even tomatoes on that one. Anyways, it's all going to get cleaned up. We may actually harvest a couple of these cabbage. Look really nice. Those are really big. And there are a few broccoli heads. Cauliflower has nothing yet, but there are some broccoli heads that are quite far along. That one is quite large. Good size.
dig. 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 This is a good one. Wow.
Oh, let's see. What? Oh, that's pretty big.
That's the carrot. I want a shovel. I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to start on
Oh! Let's see. That one's huge. Good job. Okay, go give it a wash.
I want a shovel. That carrot's so good. I can't even bite it. Like,
keep going.
like, my carrot's so good. Like, the right amount of
Is it delicious?
deliciousness, and it's just so good. There's still dirt on it.
Over in the blueberry patch. Now, I remember when I planted these in this bed, I remember planting this plant specifically, and this center stalk, which I always assumed to be part of the blueberry plant, it's been there since I planted it. I always looked at it and thought, you know, the leaves were pretty similar, but it didn't make sense to me why there would be such a large foreign plant in the blueberry plant that I just purchased. So I assumed it was a blueberry and kind of left it alone. And for a few years, it was the only part of the plant that was actually doing quite well. But this year, we've made the determination, we probably could have made the determination a few years earlier, but it is clearly not a blueberry plant. Okay, so here is the stalk. I mean, this is the blueberry plant around it. You can see it hasn't really done all that well, which is kind of why back when we purchased it, we thought this was part of the blueberry plant, because it was coming right out of the center of the pot. And you can see, I mean, when it was smaller, that yeah, the leaves look kind of similar, but now that it's grown, we have that, which is definitely not a blueberry. And oddly enough, there are insects that are attacking this plant, which are not going after the blueberry plant that is right underneath it. So, trying to kind of figure out what the best methodology is, but I think we're just going to have to grab the loppers and chop it down. Oh, that's a thick stalk. Alright, and before we take a look at how the rest of the garden is doing, give you guys a little sense of how the harvesting is going. We've taken, in the first week of August, we've taken 5 heads of lettuce, 5 pounds of garden peas, taking the rest of them out right now, a pound of bell peppers, the red knights, we're taking them as green peppers, 11 zucchinis, 14.5 pounds of zucchinis, 4 pounds of pickling cucumbers, a couple pounds of beets. We took 1.5 pounds of kohlrabi, which is the a vegetable we're just trying this year, and talk more about that in an upcoming video. 3 pounds of cabbage and the 5 pounds of broccoli that you saw when we cracked open that bed. And the grand total for that, we estimate at about $100. We'll go through the numbers a little bit better in the future. So it's a pretty safe assumption that, yeah, we're at about the, $100 a week mark in this bed. The other thing to note is we did throw a couple, well, more than a couple, a few seeds in the ground when we took out the snow peas, butternut squash seeds.
Spaghetti.
These are spaghetti, oh sorry. Spaghetti squash seeds. We will see, I don't know if it's going to work. We're pretty late in the season, but plants have a tendency of catching up. We'll see how quickly these guys can put out some fruit. We'll see what happens. Plants doing extremely well. Lots of fruit coming this year. We didn't stake them up. We find, the risk of them falling over and cracking the stems. We just let them go. They don't vine out too much, but the other thing we've noticed this year is tons of bees and pollinating insects absolutely everywhere, and we can really see the results. The patty pan's doing very well. That one didn't get pollinated, but the one on the right, the two on the right did. Lots of zucchini and patty pans on the way. Similarly with the mashed potato squash, tons of fruit set. They're just underneath the canopy here somewhere. But again, lots of pollinating insects all over the place. So yeah, happy about that. The watermelon plants doing well. Whether or not we have enough time to get a watermelon, I doubt it. Similarly with the melon plant, absolutely exploding and taking over this bed. There are some melons which, yeah, they're doing quite well. That'll definitely be a good size by the end of the year or by the end of the growing season. Kale, Swiss chard, continuing to grow and do well. Harvesting those regularly. The acorn squash, again, lots set. There's one over there that's quite large. Again, this is the unintentional. They were labeled as butternut squash, but they are not. A little bit of powdery mildew starting. It's a little bit early in the year for it, but this year has been incredibly wet in terms of just rain every other day, so not really all that much we can do about it. Strawberry bed needs a lot of TLC. The tomato patch is just well, it's a disaster, really. I think we're gonna put these back into a bed. They're just a lot easier to manage when they are in a bed and easily accessible on all sides. We hope we'll get lots of tomatoes. We're gonna go through here and start hacking off some of these, some of those suckers. Beets doing well. We pulled a few of these and they're already a really good size compared to last year. They're huge. This time last year they were still the size of, I think last year they were just the size of golf balls, and we were really hoping they'd put on a lot more weight. We didn't get as much as we thought we'd get, but this year they're already a good size. Second sowing of lettuce, or third, can't really remember. Onions have fallen over, not sure why, but we're pulling them and using them. We pulled a few carrots. They are doing very well. Last year they were pretty tiny by the end of the growing season. This year they're already about 4 inches long, good size. Dill's doing well. I'll start harvesting that and drying it down. There's our nemesis right there. Pepper's doing well. They're doing well. Those are the Red Knight sweet bell peppers. We've been pulling quite a few of them as green peppers. However, now we're going to start waiting, letting them fully mature. But yeah, really happy with the peppers this year. Habaneros, jalapenos. Habaneros did not work again. Jalapenos have to go through here. Probably next weekend we'll start harvesting a batch to pickle as the green jalapenos, and then as we draw closer to the end of the season, we'll let them turn red, smoke them, and dry them as chipotle peppers. The cucamelon has caught up. It's now gigantic and starting to produce lots of melons. Sugar snap peas came out last week, and the garden peas are coming out right now. Cucumbers are taking their time, but starting to produce. We're all hoping for a long and warm fall. Slicing cucumbers, yeah, just really starting to take off now, and the beans finally starting to produce. There's a few small ones under there. There they are. So maybe in a couple weeks, be harvesting those. And last but not least, we did find a few cherries on our gigantic cherry plant. I'm gonna leave them. They're supposed to get quite a dark red color to them before harvest, and I'm expecting them to be quite bitter. But the plan is, when this plant starts to produce larger quantities, we'll be drying them down and and see how that works. So that's it for us. See you next week.